There's something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters!
What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is finally in theaters, and today we're going to talk about it.
We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Let's get to work.
Tall, dark, and horny at 12 o'clock.
When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters new and old must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. This film is rated PG-13. A little bit of supernatural action, violence, language, and suggestive references, but as always, it's a Ghostbuster movie. It's for the family, the young kids, the old kids, teenagers. Everybody can go in and watch this. A couple of thematic things in there that may scare the younger children, but my 9-month-old, she needs it, so I'm going to force her to watch this.
I was just kidding! Come on!
And the coolest thing about this movie specifically is it's not just cameos anymore. We are reuniting the old cast with the new cast, a bit of Jurassic World, what Dominion was able to do unsuccessfully, I believe. At least this film has a more significant role for our older members and knows how to utilize them within the plot. Not everyone gets their due in terms of characters, and we'll talk about that. But of course, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, it's cool seeing everybody back on screen. I liked how they utilized Ray and Winston specifically in this film. Those shots that we see of Aykroyd just looking out the window and seeing the Ghostbusters bust into action. Is that how you say it?
That's what she said!
And that smile that he gets on his face with the music swelling. Some really beautiful moments with the OG cast. It's awesome seeing Ernie Hudson back. I wish we would have seen a little bit more of Venkman, but at the same time, we have a new cast of characters to worry about. And the star, the highlight, someone who is always amazing when she's in a movie, it's Mckenna Grace. The coming-of-age aspect of the film, there's less of that in this one, which I kind of missed. That's part of the charm of the first new Ghostbusters, the third one. She gets most of that in this film, but there's also something else that she's going through that involves another ghostly character, a little bit of back and forth there that builds her up in a different way, and I appreciated that. It's one of the storylines that I really cared about, although that being said, this movie, there are many storylines and subplots. Some of them I care about, some of them I don't, and at the end of the day, it makes for a bit of an inconsistent story because there's so many things going on. You have Podcast back, Logan Kim's character, what Paul Rudd's going through and who he's trying to become in terms of his relationship with Phoebe. Patton Oswalt's in this film. He has a specific subplot. Kumail Nanjiani is in this movie. He has a subplot. Then you have the OG cast. Then you have this looming and building threat that comes from Nanjiani's presence. And
I get it!
Is it starting to become too much just for me talking about it? Because that's how I felt while watching the movie. Now, I feel as if a lot of hardcore Ghostbusters fans, they're going to watch this, they're going to enjoy it. It's not super overwhelming with the shoehorned, oh my God, cameo and nostalgic moment and Easter egg and boom, boom, boom. There's a lot in here, for sure. At times, little overwhelming, but I compare it to something like the newer Jurassic World, and I'm like, yeah, this is at least handles it better than that movie. And what I'm going to remember most about this specific film, the moments with our characters that we've grown to care about over the first 3 films. There are so many cool sequences where not only we're getting new gadgets and we're getting this world that is inhabited by ghosts at this point, and everyone's just kind of used to it, whereas the last movie, we were going off of rumors and things that happened in the past, but now everything's kind of back to how it was in the original Ghostbusters films. Yeah, there's ghosts running around everywhere, and we know this. We know who the Ghostbusters are. We're aware that they exist. Some people love them. Some people in this, another subplot. There we go. Some people hate him, and they want him gone. And going from the countryside that we spend most of the time with in the first film to the city, which is where the first 2 Ghostbusters take place, I was excited about that because that kind of brings us back to what we know when it comes to the Ghostbusters. But as I was watching this film, I almost missed the simplicity of the last movie. Again, I enjoyed Afterlife. I liked getting back into this world. It wasn't as cool as the original Ghostbusters, but there was a coming-of-age aspect, learning who these characters are, the inclusion of Paul Rudd, and all of that was really cool, and it just felt original, and you can kind of tell there's a different director with this film. You can kind of tell that there are different people involved, and they couldn't fully iron out the story that they wanted to tell. Now, we definitely get there here, and the subtitle, Frozen Empire, it comes heavily into play at the end, but it takes so long to get there, and there are so many things that we have to tiptoe in between and storylines we have to force ourselves to care about to ultimately get to that point. Once we got to that point, it was really cool. It was classic Ghostbusters action. There's kind of a horror vibe to the big entity that we're dealing with here, and I really like that. It threw me back to the original Ghostbusters, but it takes a bit to get there, and there are so many things at play to where it feels a little jumbled and all over the place at times.
How long is this going to take?
So I believe more of a focus with Frozen Empire would have helped it kind of parse through what it wanted to get to ultimately, and I did miss the coming-of-age vibe. I did miss a really nostalgic vibe that the last movie gave us without overly relying on nostalgia and Easter eggs and all of these things. This movie, it starts to toe that line of, all right, we're going to bring this in, we're going to do this, we're going to show you this. And yeah, Finn Wolfhard's story, Trevor, he's going through something here that involves Slimer, and it almost felt as if they had no clue what to do with his character. So, here you go. But that's the thing about this movie. We spend 10 minutes over here, then we spend 10 minutes with Paul Rudd, and then Patton Oswalt comes in here. And so I wish it had more of a flow to it. And I felt as if the last movie flowed much better, even though I like the setting. I enjoy the build-up. There's a twist or two in there with Mckenna Grace's character that I thoroughly enjoyed. I missed the focus in this movie.
Focusing.
I've seen some people that said, this is just another example of blockbuster slop. But there is some heart in this film that I just think people are overlooking. I felt that. And I felt as if a lot of the actors wanted to be here, the original actors, so that's good. Here's what I want to know. Do you like Afterlife or Frozen Empire more? I'm curious to see how much money this makes this weekend because I haven't felt the hype that I expected to for this film, and not a lot of people are talking about it. But if you go out and see it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to drop a like, hey, I'd appreciate that. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire maintains the heart of Afterlife and fully integrates the original cast into this ghost-infested world. It has plenty of charm, nostalgia, and Easter eggs. Fans will have some fun, but there are too many subplots for this story to thrive as intended. It spreads itself so thin, and the lack of focus is distracting. I will say, I think Paul Rudd is like the perfect new modern Ghostbuster, but I did expect this movie as a whole and this plot to feel a bit more seamless and more focused, and I wish it delivered more in that way, but I am curious to see what Ghostbusters fans, think of this film, because at the end of the day, that is really all that matters. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. I hope to review Immaculate soon. I watched Late Night with the Devil. That review is here, and Roadhouse.
There's something weird and don't look good. Here we go.
Ghostbusters.